Camera rolling.
Camera 2 rolling.
How do I look on there though? How does my garments look though? Didi's not here, so I'm like.
You look good. Tysida.
Wait. I got something to say. Welcome back to another episode of
What's good?
Tysida Talks. We have such an interesting, intriguing, fly-ass, alluring guest today.
Alluring?
Alluring.
What an adjective.
Absolutely.
You be reading.
I be reading.
You be reading.
I be reading.
I can tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scholar babes. This guest is going to be really fun because this is our first, it's like our first official authentic conversation.
For sure.
Yes, we've definitely experienced each other in passing, and I've admired you. Shorty's fly. Let's just talk about it.
Thank you.
Because a lot of men don't be checking the mirror. You be checking the mirror. You dress well for your body.
Thank you so much.
I'm just saying. I'm like, shorties don't be knowing the proportions or something. This is crazy. But you dress well for your body. You definitely have a really good. You have a really good idea of color theory. That's phenomenal. Yeah. And I think that you are probably a lot of people's favorite mystery. So we're gonna touch base on some stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Wanna share a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like I'm worried that I'm not gonna live up to expectations. I'm gonna try my best for sure. Yeah.
You've already blown a lot of people's minds.
Stop. Yeah. Damn.
Like for sure. So like, all you're gonna do is like set a couple records straight.
Okay. Yeah.
And then just vibe a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate
So I would love for you to introduce yourself, as you would love the people to know you.
Fikison.
Period. Where's your name from?
Okay, so both my parents are Nigerian. I'm Nigerian. It's not even like the names, like the origin's not even Nigerian. I'm pretty sure it's like Scandinavian or something. So it's just like John and Johnson. Ficky, my dad's name's Ficky. I'm Fikison. Yeah.
Who gave you the name?
My dad, because he's self-centered. Yeah. Really self-centered.
What's his zodiac sign?
Oh, his birthday's November 23rd.
Does that make him a Scorpio Sag cuss?
No, I'm a Cancer. I have no idea.
He's like a Scorpio Sag cuss, I think. Go crazy, Dad.
Yeah.
Go off.
Shouts out to Pops.
Period.
Yeah.
That's
very self. My mom wanted to name me Henry. Yeah. So my dad was in Nigeria. I actually found the timeline. I found out like not too long ago. But I was an anchor baby. My mom got here when she was like 9 months pregnant.
Period.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, so when she arrived, I was born like 2 weeks later.
Go off, Mom.
Yeah.
Traveling like that? Oof,
yeah.
That's straight.
Didn't speak English or anything like that. Yeah.
That's
Real
fire.
deal anchor baby. But so I was born, and then my dad came like, I think a day later while my mom was in the hospital, and changed the birth certificate because originally my mom was going to name me a Yoruba Nigerian man. So I think he just kind of,
Period. So, and then, tell us more.
About myself?
Yeah, you just told us your name.
Yeah. Well, I live and work in Seattle.
Period.
Originally from Tacoma.
Period.
Like, make that very clear. 100% originally from Tacoma. I feel like
253.
Yeah. I went to Stadium High School, and then after that, I went to Western up in Bellingham. That's how I joined.
Yeah.
But I've been like living and working in Seattle pretty much ever since after I graduated.
And do you want to share like what industry you're in, what kind of work you do, or like what's your expertise? Your
Yeah. It's very corny to say that I'm in business development.
Why is that corny to say?
No, it's corny because I was gonna say I'm in like the tech industry, which I feel like it's just honestly kind of lame at this point because everyone is just like in tech. It feels like
that's where the world is going. That's where the world is.
Yeah, very true. But I'm in business development. So
okay.
When I graduated from school, I was like traveling around for a little bit, probably like 6 to 8 months, and then randomly, honestly, off of Craigslist, stumbled upon this like cloud computing company, and it was like a really small firm, like 40 people. They were looking for just like inside salespeople, and I just like applied. They hit me back, started working there. I was there for like 2.5 years, and then after that, so I went from like inside sales to like account management, and that was kind of like my introduction to like the business development space. And then from there, I went to Amazon Web Services. So I was doing like partner management there. and that was like my full like introduction into business development. So like managing our partner integrations within AWS. So people who are like, I feel like this is getting a little bit in depth, but like
we love it because I was gonna say, tell people what business development is.
So it's like, it's at least within like respects to AWS, it was like people that were using Amazon Web Services, so they're either utilizing AWS technology to like build solutions, or they were like going out there and like implementing them. So I managed partners there for about 2.5 years, and then found an opportunity at DocuSign. I've been there for like 5 years now.
5.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah. So did you know business development was where it's at, or were you like, I'm just vibing? Yeah.
So after I graduated and after I got done like traveling a little bit, I worked at All Saints, the clothing store.
Yes, I worked there before.
Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah.
The one
downtown.
Yeah. Okay. I very short lived. It was like 8 months, but I knew like, so I was commuting from Tacoma, and I was just like, I know that there's opportunity in Seattle, and I'm like, I need to make sure I'm like at least able to like get used to this commute. So I had shopped there. They had like 60-70% off discounts. I'm like,
good discount,
right? Yeah,
and you get close.
Exactly. Yeah. They honestly kind of suck though. Like my manager was terrible. But
you know what? It's like their brand culture is very like, we don't care.
Yeah. I remember when I was there, I just remember like the manager would be like, Fikison, we can tell like, you're gonna have like a long career here and da-da-da. So I was like,
what?
I'm not gonna be here for long.
What?
I was like, thank you.
Don't put that on me.
Exactly. Please don't. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
But I honestly was just doing it because I'm like, okay, people who are seemingly successful, if they're able to like shop here, come to
absolutely.
The store, I want to ask them what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then also I just want to get like used to this commute. And so
that's very smart.
Thank you. Yeah. Funny enough, there was actually someone who was shopping with me who actually worked at DocuSign. They referred me in for whatever reason. I don't think I got like an interview, but later on it worked out.
It planted the seed.
Exactly.
Or you planted the seed. The seed was planted.
Exactly. But so yeah, I worked there for a few months, and then that was just like me commuting back and forth from like Tacoma to Seattle, and then that was like eventually after probably like 8 months or so is when I like got the job at the first place I started.
Yeah, I love that you have a Craigslist success story.
Yeah, Craigslist is I don't know if it's like that anymore. Honestly, like, you can really like find. People aren't. I mean, you have like Indeed, so it would make sense for you to not use Craigslist the way I was. But yeah, I was on there scouring, looking for jobs because I know I needed one. But yeah, I figured it out. From there. But so I knew I wanted to get. I was losing your question. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I knew I wanted to potentially get in sales, but at least in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of like sales quotas. Like I'm sure you experience the same thing like retail and stuff.
Yeah.
But like business development, at least in my experience, it's like we're usually like in proximity to sales. We're not directly under them. So like we have like goals and like key performance indicators or whatever that we have to like hit targets and stuff. But we're not like beholden to a quota that has me stressing out every single month. Yeah. And it's like very much so understood, at least in the companies that I've worked for, like the work that we're doing, it's likely not going to come into fruition for like a year or whatever. Like we're really like building relationships and partnerships and like to some extent, like depending on what I'm working on, it's like we're building platforms and partnerships that folks can go out and sell later on. So it's like there's a little bit less pressure, and that's just always been nice. And it's just like relationship building. So it's just like back to my point about not wanting to say I'm like in tech is because these skills are applicable in like any industry, right?
Yeah. Wow, that makes so much sense for you though. Like the way that like you flow. Like when I like have experienced you, like hearing you talk about your career, like I'm like, okay, period.
I appreciate that. Also to that point, like recently in the last year, I feel like in all of my professional career I've always kind of like stood out, and it's kind of like bothered me. It's just we're in Seattle, like 9 times out of 10 I'm like the only black person in the room. I usually like just dress the way that I dress, you know what I'm saying? I always like draw attention to myself, and I'm like like people would like compliment like my clothes or like make comments about stuff, and I would like it would always bother me for a very long time, and then just recently in the last like year or so I really started to just like lean into it. I was just like, you know what, like this is the stuff that sets me apart. My work is still going to speak for itself, but if this is what like people first initially see, and at the end of the day it's like still like a positive, people gravitate to me, so I'm going to lean into it. And like honestly, like ever since I've done that, it's been like even better,
Where do you think that like stemmed from though, like being like off put by people like speaking on your appearance and stuff?
Because I'm black. For sure, because I'm black. Yeah, especially in like in those like predominantly white spaces, like I don't like feeling like a token or feeling like white people are just like, oh my god, how do you keep your shoes so clean and stuff like, like those are like the questions I always get, and that like bothers the hell out of me, and I'm just like, I just want my like work to like speak for itself, but then at the end of the day, like I do feel like there's not a ton of like ill will behind it, if not any, and so it's like kind of telling myself that like I'm have like my guard up at first and kind of just like letting that go and just being like, okay, maybe they're actually just like genuinely interested, right, and so
because it's beyond just like you being a well-dressed black man, you're a well-dressed man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
I'm dead ass. Like I promise you. Like,
thank you so much.
So I feel you. Like being in that, especially as like a dark skinned human being. It's like, okay, what are we gonna do today?
Yeah.
Where are you taking it?
Yeah.
Because I'm just vibing.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna call you when I'm like feeling down, or just like text you and just let you gas me.
Honestly, yes.
I could jump out of a plane
right
now.
But you do. We're going to get into that. Because you actually do
that. You
that.
like that segment?
Yeah.
Oh, kind of nice.
Yeah. Okay. We're playing off each other. We're doing the things.
Sure.
Because when did you start doing that? And what made you be like, not only am I going to do it, but this is going to be my hobby?
I've always, like, ever since I was, like, younger, I've kind of just, like, always been into extreme sports, I guess. Maybe it's because I went to a predominantly white school. I don't know what it was.
Bro.
I've always just kind of, I more so gravitated to that than like other, like, I mean, I played basketball a little bit when I was like young, but other than that, like I was like riding BMX bikes and doing whatever with my homies, skateboarding and stuff. So I've always kind of like gravitated towards that. We're gonna start to unpack my trauma. I was a lot bigger when I was younger. Yeah, I blossomed late. And so there's like all these things, like, and also just like resources. Like my mom was a single immigrant. Like she didn't like. I had homies that would like go dirt biking and do all of these things, and like I just didn't have access to that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Turn into right.
Yeah.
Are you an only child?
So I'm an only child from mom. I have 4 other siblings on my dad's side. Yeah.
Oh, so you grew up like.
Yeah, but I grew up here with my mom by myself. Yeah. So
okay, so your parents separated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so yeah, I've just always, to some extent, was like interested in those things. Wasn't like readily accessible for me, and then also I was just like heavy. And so like I'm giving you the whole background. But I remember it was like probably my sophomore year at college when I started to like lose weight, and I always wanted to like ride a motorcycle. And I was just like, I'm gonna teach myself how to like ride a motor. I was like, I'm gonna teach myself how to ride a motorcycle. So I like used my FAFSA and like some of my scholarship. I bought myself a motorcycle. Taught myself off of YouTube.
YouTube University.
Exactly. Yeah. Had that motorcycle for a little bit, and then from there, like, started there.
Was it like a motorcycle or was it like a bike?
No, it was like a sport bike.
A sport bike.
Yeah, it was like a sport bike. But that happened, and then like I said, just kind of gotten into like.
You just took it further.
I've always exactly. Yeah, kind of like realized
my high is like it is capped. Like keep it going.
Yeah, I kind of realized like I'm like a little bit of an adrenaline junkie for sure.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when I started skydiving, I had totaled my last motorcycle. Unfortunately, someone T-boned me like a few years back, and thankfully. And then I was just like, my mom hated that I rode them, and she was just like, don't ever get another one. And it was during the pandemic, and
wow, it's so fresh.
Yeah. Well, no, so the motorcycle accident was like a couple of years before the pandemic. It was like 2017 or something like that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, I was bored, and I was like, I want to buy another motorcycle. I was like, I haven't ridden in a while. And then I was thinking about it, and then just somehow like stumbled upon like getting like your skydiving license, and then I was like researching, looking things up, and statistically, skydiving is safer than riding a motorcycle, but that's just because less people do it. And so I was
not enough people to crash into it there.
Yeah. So that was like in my mind, that was kind of like my rationale. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And so during the pandemic was like the perfect time. I was like working from home. Found a drop zone in like Arizona, and then just went out there for like 2.5 weeks and started the process.
Just dropped out of the sky.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so where does this like? Okay, we know you're an adrenaline junkie now.
Yeah.
Are you still? Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I have my license and stuff.
But I'm like, do you have moderation? Do you have like self will, or are you just like, whoo? Chasing the wave.
I don't know. There's certain things, at least when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't really feel like I'm like thinking about it because I'm like a methodical person, intentional. But those kind of things just don't really kind of scare me. I don't want to sound like I'm this like huge macho man, but like when it came to the skydiving thing, like when I say this, I honestly did not hesitate once. Like as soon as I like paid the money and like your first jump, you're essentially by yourself. You have two people that are next to you that are like watching you in free fall to make sure that you're not going to pass out. But like we're on our way up there going like 13,000 feet, and that door opened, and like I just honestly like, didn't hesitate. But that's also just kind of like when it comes to those kinds of things, I've kind of always just been like that. Like I understand there's like risk, but I've just never really been super scared of those types of stuff. And there's like super scary situations. Like I've definitely gotten hurt.
Skydiving?
Yeah, like I tore my meniscus.
When you were like landed?
Yeah, just like hard landing, because there's a lot that goes into it. So like you gotta like think of like wind conditions and all of these things. It's like landing like a proper plane is what it feels like. And I'd say almost all of your training is basically them just like preparing you for something to like inevitably go wrong. And so like they teach you how to react and respond to like whatever might potentially go wrong when you're in free fall. But yeah, so like still very scary, but for whatever reason, just that hesitation is just not there.
Yeah. Okay, so when, like you said, their training is like, it's basically training you for something to inevitably go wrong.
Yeah.
How does that correlate to who and how you are as a person?
All right, my bad. Are we like going off track on topics right now? Because I'm like a little bit. My bad. Thank you for bringing me back.
No, we're not, because I feel like, but I think that's what this is about, right? Yeah. There's so much abstract, like gems through conversation. Facts. And so I think some people think like you just gotta get straight to it. Yeah. And then you're like, I hate generic ass shit. Yeah. So when they're like, you just gotta keep your head down and keep going. Which I knew that already. Yeah. I was gonna do that anyways.
I need a little bit more.
How do I keep my head down and keep going? Facts. Okay, well let me tell you something. You wake up in the morning. When you wake up, you're gonna give gratitude. First thing you're gonna say is thank you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me the how. Oh yeah. Don't tell me the what, because I knew that already. So, but hearing that, right, you're like, I don't even have any fear going, like, doing certain stuff. Yeah. But, like, things have happened. Yeah. But that has to do with part of who you are as a person. Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah. Funny enough, when I was having this conversation with my therapist a little while ago, and I was telling her about how I feel like I need to, like, do these things to, like, push myself. Like, I'm always like, I need to do like the next thing that's gonna like push my boundaries and like get like feel like I'm being challenged. I'm like learning a new thing, and I'm like that's why like I love skydiving so much, because it's just like to this day it doesn't matter how many times I do it. Like as soon as I like land, it feels like I can do anything. Right? Like you jump out of the plane and land safely. Like it changes you, right? And so I remember I was just like talking to her. I'm like I feel like I need to like find that like next thing to like feel like I'm being challenged. And she was just like, I feel like she just like, and I feel like this happens with therapists, they like do a really good job of like synthesizing what you're saying and like just putting it in the simplest terms. She's like, you don't need to risk your life, Fikison. She's like, you just like learning things. And so I was just like, damn, you're right.
You're right. Like, I was like, I'm pushing it.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm trying to go to the edge with it, but like,
I just like learning new things. Yeah. So it's when it comes to like not being hesitant in that like aspect, I feel like that's just kind of. For me personally, how I am, like naturally, I kind of gravitate to those things. So it comes a lot easier to me. That being said, like I talk about not having fear in that regard, but like I have fear in like public speaking. Like I feel like a lot of people assume because I'm social, I'm like good at public speaking, but like I get super nervous and like uncomfortable. I force myself to do it because I know it's like something I need to do. But like,
do you feel like it's something you need to do, or are you something that is like you're the person for that thing to be done?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I do it because I want to just like get better at it.
Yeah.
And I want to like challenge myself. But I also do feel like, maybe to some extent it's like something I should be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Like who better than me?
Right? Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yeah. And as like an only child, my mom always like spoke a lot of like positivity into me. Like she like so much so like gave me my self-confidence 110%. Like supported me in everything I did, right? And so she would always tell me like you have this like light, like people gravitate to you, right? And like I do feel like because of that, there is part of me that's just like, okay, I should be good at this, right? Because of those things, right?
Yeah. Wow. That takes us to like along with it plays to our topic of how you speak over your life. So that's a beautiful gem you dropped in there. Like your mom speaking that life into you at such a young age.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, like, I feel like I have to give like all the credit to her. Honestly, like we, that's like my best friend has always been extremely supportive of me.
Yeah.
And even when I probably didn't need to be given that confidence, like I probably didn't deserve it in those moments, she always did. Like she never allowed me to really like question like who I've always been able to just like move at like the beat of my own drum, just because I feel like she's like given me like that, like empowered me in that way.
Yeah.
So when I think about like speaking over my life, to some extent, as corny as it sounds, I feel like I'm just kind of like speaking through her, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like what she's given me, and like I feel like when it comes to me, I pride myself in being like authentically myself, no matter what. Yeah. Like even at times when it is definitely like I'm kind of moving on a different path than everyone else. Like I find a lot of like empowerment in just being able to just like be authentically myself, no matter what it is, and not, you know, kind of like following what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Is your mom a spiritual woman?
My mom she's a devout Christian. Yeah. Very, very spiritual in that sense.
When she spoke like life into you, did she speak it in a way almost in lessons, where being like, you know, you could tell your kid like, don't say can't. Mm-hmm. Like, did she let you know why you can't say that? Like how everything you say, like what do they say? What do they be saying? It's like what is it, like the power of the tongue to speak life or death?
Yeah. She's an immensely positive person. Yeah. Like I feel like if anything, she's just like leading by example more so than like actually like telling me. Yeah. It was just never a time. I can't really think of a time where my mom would ever like. There'd be no doubt coming from her. Like that could be doubt from everyone else, right? Or like, you know, just throughout my life, someone saying like I couldn't do something. It's never coming from her. Yeah. Like it's always, you can do it. Like just always positivity.
So like doubt is almost unnatural.
It's. I have doubt.
I mean, doubt, but like okay, we can have doubt, but like some people like indulge in doubt. Yeah. Right? It's like they want to play with it. Yeah. They want to, you know, test the waters with it. Yeah. But like, do you feel like that is kind of unnatural to be like, oh, I don't trust this, and then you like go into the whole spiral of the things, or do you
kind of like self-doubt? I mean, if I'm talking to her, I'm not feeling that at all. Yeah. Because she just won't let me do it. Yeah.
Facts. Yeah.
And it's just like I said, I think again, just like leading by example. When I think about everything she went through to like get herself to this point, and like where she is in her life, it's just blows my mind every single time when I think about it. Like literally came here 9 months pregnant, did not speak any English, like just I think why our bond is so close is because we were literally figuring out America together, is what I always say. And just really close, like just through all of like the ups and downs of it, but like just the strongest person ever. Like very rarely, if ever, like showing any sort of like doubt or like uncertainty about like what she's doing. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure if you were to like ask her, I'm sure she attributes a lot of that to her like faith in God for sure, because that's what she would say, right?
Yeah. Faith is different. Yeah. You can have hope. You can have intention. Yeah. But faith, that's different. You be looking crazy when you've unwavering faith. Yeah. You be like, people be like, the house is on fire right now. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. We still having dinner at 7 p.m. Be here. Yeah. And you're like, what?
It's a different thing.
Yeah. Damn. I'm shook. Yeah. I'm shook. I am, because it's like I feel like I've had a few conversations where it really goes back to home. Yeah. Like it really goes back to home. And so, especially to you, like, witness your mom, like, that is different. Like, 9 months pregnant, don't speak any English. Yeah. And you being like, that's cool. Yeah.
And just, like, in the middle of Tacoma, North Tacoma. North of Tacoma, just, like, figuring it out. I don't know. Still to this day, do not know how she does it. And there were, especially just, like, where I grew up, there was just, like, so many times where I feel like the contrast of, like, my home life and my experience, it was so apparent to the people that like I was like around at the time or whatever. Right? Yeah. Like, we had like our community through church, which was like to some extent where I was able to see myself, right? But then when it came to like my schooling, I was just like it was such like a stark contrast. Yeah. And I was just like from such like a very young age, I was able to see that like okay, they are living very differently than I am living, and then like slowly but surely we get to like identify like okay, there's certain things that go on in my house that are not going on. There's like certain levels, I guess, of stability, I guess, to some sense, right? Like or structure that they have that I don't have, and all these things, and just like knowing that my mom was able to just like go through all of that and like overcome so many of those obstacles throughout. It's just like you have no choice but to make sure you do the right things and fucking succeed, honestly.
Right.
Else all those sacrifices and stuff are like in vain, right? Like I
was gonna ask, like, how did that impact you, like that contrast?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was a kid too, and I think sometimes some of us can carry our struggles so well that people would be like, I never know.
Yeah.
I never know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like also why I want to do this podcast, because I call it a conversation for the in-betweeners. Because I think when you're you know, scholarly and you're persistent and you're ambitious and you're a creative thinker and you're a self-starter, a lot of people assume like that comes from, I don't know, kind of like a privilege. Yeah. Like, that's your luxury. Yeah. And they're like not knowing, like, I'm putting in effort. Oh, like, this is the hard work part. Oh, like, 100%. You know, like you said, like, because if I don't, everything goes in vain. Yeah. Everything that was before me, like, it's null and void. Yeah.
And if I don't do it, who else is going to?
Exactly.
You know, I have literally no choice.
Yeah.
I gotta figure it out.
Exactly.
No matter what. Yeah.
I feel like you also have a spirit of curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty curious.
Yeah, I feel like, because also too, like, right, if you've never seen it before. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like uncharted territory. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You're just, I mean, like, look where you've been able to take yourself. You're like, I just assumed she could pop off.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, when it comes to, like, my career or, like, even just, like, hobbies or certain things I'm into, I'm just like, you don't necessarily have to, like, spell it all out for me if you just, like, give me, like, a glimpse, especially when it comes to, like, my career. Like, me and Junior talk about this all the time. We have, like, some of our older homies that, like, kind of worked in similar spaces or whatever, and they didn't, like, necessarily tell us, like, exactly what the blueprint was, right? They just kind of showed me that it was possible, and that's, like, honestly, like, all I need from this part. Like, I'm just like, if you show me it's possible, like, if you show me I can get to this point, like, you don't got to give me, like, the step-by-step. Like, I'm driven enough, right, to where I'm going to figure it out my way. Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap this, you know, like I said, like, I love, like, you are, like, this conversation, this is phenomenal, right? But you also are very, like, you're very witty.
Thank you.
You have a great sense of humor.
Thank you.
But you also have boundaries.
Yeah.
And, like, how, like, either how did you get that way, or, like, what let you know that, like, I gotta be like that? Because, like, I'm telling you, because I follow you on Twitter. Yeah. So, like, you just don't let people play with you a certain way. Like, okay, now.
Yeah.
Now, you're... I just
hear you. If you let people, I'm a really nice person. Like,
absolutely.
I try to be as nice as I possibly can. Like we were talking about before, I'm like, you catch more bees with honey. One thing about me though is like I don't feel like I'm a super disrespectful person, so I don't take disrespect like lightly. Like I have like a very short fuse sometimes to my own detriment when it comes to that kind of stuff. But that's just through like life experiences of just like knowing that I need to like establish those boundaries. Like when you let people get too comfortable or whatever, right? Then they start to like cross lines. So like, I do feel like it's important to make sure that like people are aware of your boundaries and also aware that like you don't play that, right? Like,
facts.
Yeah, and that's like I feel like that just applies to like it's not just, you know, internet conversations.
No, yeah.
Or, like, people that's like it just goes to like it's the same thing for me in work. I'm like, there's people that be getting too comfortable. Yeah. They talk to me like we're on TikTok or whatever, and I'm like, yo, I'm like a senior to you for one. Also, we're just not on the internet, dog. Like, don't talk to me because I'm just like this. You think I'm like the cool black kid at the company? You know what I'm saying? Or like, yeah, we gotta have boundaries. Yeah. So yeah, I'm big on that for sure.
No, yeah. You like let's reel it back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like more is caught than taught.
Exactly.
So I feel that.
Got some of these bars.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, of course. I feel like this is my thing. I feel like I can have like stream of consciousness, and I just like start rambling. I hope.
No, this is beautiful. This is so good. Even when you're talking in the beginning about sharing about business development, I also want a lot of other people to. One of my biggest things, especially for like young black people, is to like some people don't know, and you don't know what you don't know,
Fair.
And like I was saying, like your spirit of curiosity, and I have a big family, and I think sometimes people think because you're that way, well they should be able to be that way, and everybody doesn't have the spirit of curiosity. Yeah. So I do want to make a lot of things accessible to people.
Yeah.
People don't know, like, oh, maybe I do have this skill set, or I'm naturally good at this thing, and that's something I can capitalize on. Sure. That's something that can make life comfortable for me, and I don't have to pursue all these other things. And so I love sharing, and I love sharing the things that I'm telling you. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and that's why this is a conversation for the in-betweeners, because there's somebody right now who's just moving through their adolescence, but adult life hits different.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, so they need somewhere where they can catch some game. And then they're like, oh shit, you know, I was listening to this thing.
And one thing I also like to say, like, to whether it's, you know, people that I know that are like a little bit younger, just like getting started in their careers, it's so possible to like work a 9 to 5. Like, I feel like people get so like steered away from that sometimes. I'm like, it's cool to have stability. Oh, and like have the flexibility of work depending on what it is that you're doing. Yeah. Financial stability, and then still be able to explore and pursue all of these things that you want to do, like creatively, or just like, you know, in like your leisure, traveling, all this stuff. Like, there's like stuff that I've just never been able to do before. Yeah. But I'm like able to do it now because
that's what I'm saying. You're a vibe.
A stable job. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say we don't all have to be rapping.
You feel me? There's a way to do you your way. Facts. And like you said, like, have the things you want. Yeah. And yeah, I just think we gotta expose more people to it. Yeah. So I'm so grateful that you did this for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for all your gas.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'll do it anytime.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Thank you guys.
I was rambling.
No, it was so good.
You right on time.
I was rambling.
Good.
No, you literally were talking like in a direction though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I try.
Yeah, I think maybe you're just like in your head about talking. Yeah. Maybe you don't. You're like, I don't be doing this. Yeah. I don't know how many people.
I don't always like feel comfortable talking about myself, but you made it.
Yeah, but like your story is so compelling.
Thank you.
No, for real. Like I'm sure somebody would like are assuming like wild things about you just by like watching your life. Yeah. And that's okay, right? Yeah. Because like one thing I'll say, like, manifest for me. Yeah. Right. Like I've had people say, I didn't even know you get up and go to work. I thought you just wake up and be vibing. I thought somebody take care of you. I said, well, put it out in the universe.
That's it. Okay?
I like that. I would love it. Yeah. Right. But I'm like, you know, like when you share just a little bit, and that's the thing, like, I gotta give you all my tea. Yeah. But like, yeah, I'll put work in for this. So that's fire.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.